Okay, good. Okay, I'm good. Oh man, sorry about that. All right, AW Air Water in the house. How you guys doing? Welcome to my stream. Wonder Man review, baby. Spoiler review. That's what we're doing tonight, boys and girls. I don't think I have girls. I don't remember the last time I had a female audience member, but but we got this show. All right, this show, Wonder Man. I hope you've seen it. Actually, it's one of the best MCU shows out there. Oh shit! I know, champion did. Okay, wrong invitation. I hope Light has seen it. All right, there we go. Fuck Wonder Woman. All right, so this is a spoiler review of Wonder Man. It says we're gonna do it on this Saturday. I gotta check my thing. Then if you don't care, you don't have to watch the stream, man. The stream, you don't have to. You know, I'm not gonna be upset or anything like that. If you want, it's up to you. I'm not gonna be upset or angry. I'm not. Or detract the stream. Where is that bum blinded? I know he's still coming on the streams, but I gotta talk about Wonder Man. All right. This show is the only comic book Marvel thing, Marvel movie and Disney Plus show with no villain. No villain. There is no villain in this show. No villain at all in this show. Okay? Like he has no villain in this show. Okay? So, and 8 of all the MCU things that came out since the inception of MCU, this show is the only one without a villain. My battery's gonna die soon. Whatever. On my phone. Okay? No villain at all. But this show was kind of like it's a comedy, obviously, friendly comedy show with a heart of dramatic emphasis in the show. Okay. This is about Simon Williams, played by the actor who played the Black Manta from Aquaman. Yeah, I know. I'm not gonna butcher his name, so I won't be saying it. Okay. 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 I'm not gonna say the actor's name because I'm gonna butcher it. But Sam Williams. Okay. This is about him. Basically, this is a parody of how the acting industry works. Okay, the struggles of becoming a successful actor. Okay, the grind to become an actor, someone that's gonna break out and get that one role that's really gonna solidify you. as an actor, with all the struggles and all that. Okay, this is what it is, and all the behind the scenes stuff that goes on in Hollywood for actors, auditions, callbacks, uh, page things like that. Uh, Anything that's involved in the. Am I in the mines again? Oh, maybe my echo. Oh, my echo's on. My echo's on. Let me. That's why. My echo's on. There we go. There we go. There we go. I pressed the echo off. That's better. Okay. But the thing about Simon Williams, he's hiding a secret from the industry. In the industry, that has powers. Powers. And we'll get to later on why he feels that if he reveals his powers publicly in the industry, he would get blacklisted. Because it's very important. It's very important. Why? Okay, in the show. It's actually kind of discrimination. It is discrimination, really. Really. What? All because of one incident with somebody's 50 minutes of fame, something who had powers, and now that one person, it's the fourth episode, one big incident that created a huge newsworthy item in the industry, changed the fortunes of anybody once again in the industry that has superpowers. Okay? We'll get to that. Okay? But here's Simon Williams. Is very different from the comic book version. Very different. I know, of course, the color of his skin is obvious. Obvious. Okay, the color of his skin is obvious. Very different. It is. And I'm gonna let you know. There is no Grim Reaper in this episode. In the comics, his brother becomes a villain, his arch enemy and villain, a Marvel villain. That's not this. This did not happen in the show, and I don't think it's gonna happen. It's based on this show. I don't see that happening at all in MCU. His brother is not going to become a villain at all. And if they're going to do the Grim Reaper, it's not going to be his brother. It's going to be somebody else. Okay, his brother, and in the comics, they're kind of wealthy. They're wealthy, right? That Williams' family is wealthy. Here, him and his brother are sons of Haitian immigrants. Their parents come from Haiti, and they had nothing, but they had to grow. But they had to work to provide a family, to provide a life for Simon and Eric. Okay, and their mother, the father was in a little bit. The mother, they had a Haitian accent. Okay, Haitian accent, very different from the comic books. Very different. The only thing that's the same about them in the comic books, the name, and his brother has the same name. Okay. Well, very different. This is like, I say most of the Marvel characters in the MCU, they're almost very similar to the comic book counterparts. Like, right? Almost here, far away, very different to the comic counterparts. Okay? But this show is not I wouldn't even classify as a superhero show because it is part of a superhero universe creation. This show is more of I want to say sitcom, because sitcoms, usually every episode usually details a different story most of the time. It's just more, but it has elements of a sitcom. It's more, how can I say it? It's a comedy show, okay? But this is not, the way it's written, the way it's directed is not like a superhero show. Okay, at all. Okay. And It's a comedy show, pure comedy. It's just the most of any Marvel property out there. It's just the most any comic. Well, actually, well, the most Marvel property out there, Marvel of MCU. This show is definitely the farthest away from a comic book adaptation in any way. Yes, Wonder Woman is a comedy. This is a comedy show. Yes, this is pure comedy. Like, okay, yes, Wonder Woman is a comedy. I don't know what blind it is. Okay, but what makes this show so great is really now I could say this. This show is about Wonder Man, but the show is also about Ben Keasley character, Trevor Slattery, the Mandarin. We got a lot of backstory, a lot of information, a lot of Trevor's story in here. Okay, we got to know Trevor a lot more here. Okay, his him as a child and how much he wanted to go into acting and theater right away as a child, and how much his mother pushed him to go for that dream. Okay. Also, he talks about how he loves theater more than like I think doing movies and shows, but he loves theaters, and he's kind of like he's a friend to Simon, but he's also his I want to say mentor, but someone giving advice, teacher on how to get by in this world, like in the acting world. Okay, someone who's yeah, there's more than a friend. But the thing is, it wasn't authentic because the reason he got close to Trevor, that was manufactured. That was manufactured. That wasn't by chance. That wasn't a coincidence. That was manufactured because as soon as he got back to LA, he was apprehended by damage control, and he still had to make up his time for posing as a Mandarin back in Iron Man 3. He was either offered to go back to jail or do some groundwork, do some spying on Simon. Okay? Get close to Simon Williams. Okay? And in this show, and yeah, they mentioned a lot of movies and TV shows, real movies and TV shows, but I don't know why they make that a big deal. I don't why they make that a big deal. It's not really a big deal. The studios do it all the time, mention shows and movies all the time from other studio IPs that other studios own. It doesn't really matter. I mean, he mentioned American Horror Story because in the first episode he had a role playing a character in American Horror Story. American Horror Story is Disney, so it really doesn't matter. But okay, he got canned off being a problem on that set. Okay, but he was a struggling actor. His girl left him. His girlfriend left him. His girlfriend is also a struggling actress. It turns out in the seventh episode that she's a struggling actress who in the seventh episode got like a role on Severance. Okay. Here we got also in this show we got some actors who played in real selves, like a fictional version of himself, right? Like Josh Gad was in this, playing a version of a fictional version of himself, a very over the top version of himself. And he makes fun of himself in this movie too. We got Joe. What's his? I'm gonna butcher his name, but I know his name from Bad Boys. Okay. Okay. Joe Ashley Green. Yeah, Ashley Green was in it. I don't know how many of you know Ashley Green. Ashley Green was Alice Cullen. Ashley Green was Alice Cullen in Twilight, right? She was in Twilight. She played. Yeah, that's okay. But who else was Joe? What's his name? Joe Pala. Fuck, it's in here. Shit. Fuck. Joe Palladino. Yeah, Joe Palladino is in it. He plays. He's in Bad Boys. Okay. But yeah, there's some actors and actors play a fictional version of themselves. Okay. And yeah, Eric Williams, the brother. It's we don't get the Grim Reaper at all. He won't be. My guess is they don't have any plans for that character. You got Mario Lopez is in it, playing a fictional version of himself. But yeah, so there's a lot of actors and actresses that play a fictional version of themselves. Okay. Josh Gad. Josh Gad. The thing is, Josh Gad was not a cameo. Josh Gad was not a cameo in this show. He was actually a whole episode wasn't exactly dedicated to him, but the episode that he was in was very important to the show. Very important to the show, actually. But because it created this clause in the acting industry that I guess it's the studio industry, not really in the SAG after, but probably the studio industry. That anybody with powers, it cannot be. Anybody with powers are not allowed to be in the industry. So discrimination, basically. And that episode, the reason for that is based in the episode with Josh Gadden. The Doorman Clause. Funny episode. Okay. And we got okay. So what happened was the director of the Wonder Man, not the show Wonder Man we're talking about, but the Wonder Man movie within the Wonder Man show, is doing a reboot of Wonder Man. Okay, reboot of Wonder Man. The director's name is Von Kovac, right? The same actor played the Borvian. Was it Borvian? Borvia president in Superman. Same guy. Right. So he's doing a reboot for Wonder Man again, a more modern version of Wonder Man, right? Because in the show, the Wonder Man movie in the show came out in the 80s. So he was doing a reboot of a more modern Wonder Man, and he was obviously it had auditions. The thing is, he never got, by his agent, Simon never got sent the audition from his agent, the email from his agent about an audition for Wonder Man. He kind of had to he heard about what happens is Trevor he met Trevor in the theater, and afterwards Trevor said he heard about a movie that he's got audition for, and he mentioned his Wonder Man. And Simon Williams was a big fan of the original Wonder Man, William, and his dream was to play Wonder Man. Okay, his father took him to see Wonder Man. His father let him play hooky. hooky for a day. Okay. But then Simon's like, he told his agent, how come you never told me about how come you never told me that they were doing Wonder Man? And so his agent kind of like left the scenery for a while, and he went on his agent's computer and saw that this is the one they sent the notice there's auditions for Wonder Man. Okay. 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 So he does go to audition, the first audition. Okay. The first audition. Okay. And he meets Barnaby, not Barnaby. He meets Trevor there. Trevor is auditioning for Barnaby, okay? Not Wonder Man, okay? Like, okay. So he goes to audition, okay? The first audition he does well, okay? Does well, passes. Now he's told to make kind of like it's audition, but it's a different type of audition. This is common. This is actually common in the industry. You have to do a recording of yourself, coming up with something and coming up improv basically. Come up with a scene, and act it out. Basically, improv something. Basically, it's common. Now, because now in the industry, they don't do auditions in person as much as they used to. They do a lot of auditions are now on tape recording, right? But the problem with that is how you interact with the other person you're auditioning with, who may end up getting a counterpart in the same movie or TV show. It's hard when you're auditioning, making a tape recording of yourself, but that's what happens. So in that episode, that was the third episode, and he was struggling to find a place to do the audition at. Okay, distractions are getting in the way. It's funny, and he wanted Barnaby's help with the audition too, right? Not Barnaby, Trevor's help. I call him Barnaby. Blind is my Barnaby. Okay. All right. So when he was doing his improv audition, which was him being a waiter, I believe, the waiter of the restaurant. Okay, he records that, finds the perfect video, not video, the perfect recording. Because sometimes, when you take multiple takes, the perfect take, he sends in the perfect take, which he thinks is the best take. You send that in, okay? Send that in, okay? And then he waits, okay, for a callback. Now, a callback usually means that you pass basically to the final stage of the audition, okay? The final stage of the audition. This is when they reduce the number of candidates who are going to be who audition for the role. So that's what the callback is. If you get a callback, that's a step in the right direction. And that's what happens here. So he gets a callback. Him and Trevor gets a callback. So basically, Blue Lake Titty. It's not a comic book show, Kevin. That's the thing. You have to understand. It's not a comic book show. It's not Blue Lake Titty. It's not meant to be a comic book show. Okay. So he gets a call back. All right. And we'll talk about that. But in the episode, now his brother, when he goes to his mother's birthday, right? His brother is very judgmental. His brother thinks Simon is wasting his time trying doing this acting thing because Simon hasn't gone anywhere 10 years or something. Hasn't gone anywhere, right? Hasn't gone anywhere. Hasn't made it himself. He made it himself. But it's also he criticizes Simon, but deep down he kind of blames Simon for their father's death. Because explain this because their father's death happened in a fire where Simon, as a young kid, accidentally created. For some reason, Simon's a young kid, did not suffer any issues with the fire. He went to the doctor. His mother took him to the doctor. Doctor did the checks and everything. Check if he's inhaled any smoke, stuff like that. Nothing. It's like nothing happened to him. Okay? And that's the beginning of his powers. Now this show did not explain how he got his powers at all. Period. Okay? Did not show how he got his powers. Okay? And when he gets angry, he tends to lose control and his powers go off. His eyes go red and it's like an explosion sometimes. Okay? Okay? But his brother is very judgmental. Believes Simon is wasting his time pursuing a career in acting. In acting, being an actor. His mom is supportive. His dad was always supportive. His dad was the one who pushed him kind of it's an inspiration for him to get into acting. Actually. Because his dad, while eating a lunch together, his dad, I seen your plays and I seen how good you are. And he mentioned, I'm not just saying that because I'm your father. I meant to say that. I'm saying that because I see how talented, like basically, a paraphrase, see how talented, how really, really good you are. And I think you should pursue this. Okay? All right, where is blinded? Maybe blinded didn't see everything. Ha! It's possible. Oh, it's 56K, man. Okay. All right. So, yeah, Trevor, on the other hand, Ben Kesey's character. Yeah. So, yeah, he's tasked by the damage control to basically spy on Simon because damage control knows Simon could be a dangerous threat with his powers. How do they know he has powers? That's the question. How do they know he has powers? Okay. So, the thing is, Simon and Trevor do get a call back, which is really, really good, right? Like I said, it means you basically made to the final rounds of audition, right? And then you're among other final candidates to be the role. So they get invited to Von Kovac's home, right? To audition in front of the director with a couple other actors, the other final actors who made a final cut to be Barnaby, and also the final cut to be Wonder Man. Okay. And Simon, he crumbled a little bit, but he managed to regained his composure. Him and they thought the Vaughn's assistant took him to the front of the door. The entrance and the exit. And they thought, oh, they were cut. They're not going to be Barnaby and Wonder Man. But Vaughn Kovac out of some other different room came and said, "Where are you guys going?" It's like, I thought you cut us. We're not gonna cut the roll. No, you are my Wonder Man and Barnaby. So Trevor and Simon end up becoming Wonder Man and Barnaby. I love that. That blind is my Barnaby. Blind is my Barnaby. Okay. Okay. But why is there no? Why is there a clause in in the acting industry, in the Hollywood industry, in Wonder Man, why people with powers are forbidden or outlawed to pursue a career in Hollywood as an actor or anything like that? That's because of episode 4. Episode 4, which featured Josh Gad. There was this guy named Doorman. Okay? And Doorman has specific power. Okay? Specific power. Okay? He was basically a doorman for a club, right? A club, where people go clubbing. Okay? Very high end club where actors, actresses, celebrities, high end people go, okay? Is okay. Josh Gad was one of them. But the thing about this doorman is he has specific power that lets him phase through objects. And it's connected to a door flow dimension. Okay? So he can phase through objects, meaning he can phase through walls or anything like that. Basically, yeah, I mean, kind of Kitty Pryde, I guess, in a way. And how he became famous, how he became really well known, what happened was how he became big and how he became an actor. Well, there was a fireworks can happen. The fireworks happened in his club, and the exit was locked off. Right, so if it happened, the patrons, the customers couldn't get out, and Josh Gad was one of them. Josh Gad was DJing, right, and there was only one solution. Doorman had to absorb all the people into his body, and then he could face out of the club. He did that, so he saved everybody. Right? Including Josh Gad. And Josh Gad was the one who let him join basically his group, his entourage. As kind of like an assistant at first. Right? Not okay, part of his crew, but more like a crew, friend, assistant, okay? But then Doorman became an actor. But but the thing with him is, so Francis Josh Gad he's getting very famous Doorman, okay? Okay. He manages to Josh, like, I can't act. Why you want me to be an actor? I can't act. And Josh Gad makes fun of himself in the show and says, you think I can act? You think I can act? You think I can? He makes fun of himself. Okay? So Doorman does end up getting a job as acting. Gets very famous. Right? A lot of his stuff involved him going phasing, right? A lot of things involves doing promotional work, things like that, acting, promotional work, commercials, all the things that you get famous, all that, right? So he does a movie with Josh Gad about thieves stealing from a vault of money, right? And Doorman plays a character where they can phase through the vault, right? Because of Doorman. So, okay. So that movie is successful. Okay. So they're making a sequel to that movie, right? A sequel. This is where things got weird. Really, really weird. Because one of the scenes they were shooting, right? In the show, not like in the act, not like in the show, one of the scenes they were shooting in a truck or something. One of the things was Josh Gad's character had to go through Doorman in right, goes through in Doorman's body, so Doorman could phase him through the truck. So what happened was, while the camera crew and everybody on the other side of the truck in the stage, right? You see on the set, right? Obviously, right? Because they used actual like a real stage truck thing, because Doorman, because he could face through the door, so it didn't have to be nothing near, right? They could actually use an actual wall that looks like it's part of a truck. They could actually use a wall, and obviously in real life they wouldn't be used a wall because you cannot face in real life, right? Obviously, that'd be cool if you could face. I mean, it'd be cool, but you can't. So what happened here is the thing was that Josh Gad was going through Doorman, and Doorman was going to face through the raw, and then the scene's over, right? So Josh Gad goes into Doorman. Okay, into Doorman. Doorman cannot face or something. So he couldn't face. Something went wrong. He wasn't feeling right. Something went wrong. Wasn't right. Wasn't feeling good. And Doorman, right? And then you see the wall on the other side. No Josh Gad. And Josh Gad's been gone, disappeared. Josh Gad is trapped inside Doorman. Okay? Like, what happened? Oh my god. And that started a downward spiral for Doorman. And also that created the Doorman clause, which basically is nobody with powers is allowed to be an actor, an actress, or anything in the industry, in the acting, in the entertainment industry, basically. And Simon was scared of that because Simon was on a movie set or a TV set at the time when that news broke, and he just walked out. This is before Simon got the role of Wonder Man. I almost said Wonder Woman, and all that. So he was worried. He was worried that if he gets angry or whatever, releases his powers, that he'll be fired from Wonder Man and he'll be blacklisted, banned from acting. Something he's very passionate about, and that's, we could tell in this show, very passionate about acting, about making a name for himself. Like really hard, where it's getting to a point where Trevor tells him, you need to relax, you need to calm down, you gotta be patient, you gotta, right? Because he really was rushing Simon. Okay. And Trevor was a good friend. Well, the thing, what blew Trevor's cover about working for Damage Control, the Wonder Man, is when, all right, so they started filming Wonder Man. Like, we fast forward a little bit, they started filming Wonder Man. Okay, and they started filming Wonder Man, and right, there was costume fitting, suit fitting, Wonder Man's glasses, things like that. They got into production, right? For Wonder Man. Okay. Got into that. What blew Trevor's friendship? What blew Trevor's friendship with Simon is when a reporter from the New York Times comes out to interview Trevor and Simon, and Trevor doesn't really know who this reporter is, but Simon does. And Simon tells Trevor that this reporter goes hard on actors and things, like really goes hard on them. Like, we'll criticize them. We'll kind of bury them. We'll bury them. Arrest the church, bury them in the New York Times. And Trevor is worried. Trevor says you can't say anything that's could be used as dirt. And he's worried because this reporter contacted Simon's ex-girlfriend, the mother, and they all said good things. The ex says good things, the mother says it. But the one person he was worried about was his brother. Because his brother is always critical of Trevor. Chris versus Trevor, now of Simon. Okay, and Trevor witnessed how his brother treated Simon at Simon and Eric's. Trevor witnessed how Eric treated Simon at Eric's at the mother's birthday party, and he didn't like it. Okay. But the one person he worried about, the reporter from New York Times would ask, is the brother, Simon's brother. So they do the sit-down interview at the studio, one of the studios of this. One of the studios restaurant, because each studios, where they do the filming, all that, they have restaurants there, right? So they do. They get the restaurant all to themselves for an interview. Trevor and Simon. So it's a dual interview, right? So the New York reporter doesn't really go after Simon at all. Doesn't really go after Simon, but she goes after Trevor because Trevor has a history. Obviously, he pulled his Mandarin years ago, right? And he's still in trouble for that. I mean, that's why he's doing this. That's why he's spying on Simon for damage control, right? So she goes after Trevor. She attacks Trevor, not Simon. Simon thought she was going to attack him, right? But she goes to Trevor, right? Okay. She says, witnesses saw you arrested at the airport, LAX, okay? Right? And then she started egging him on, and he denied it. And he just stormed off, right? He stormed off the interview. Simon goes to confront him, and Trevor reveals the truth. Tells him the truth. That, yeah, it's all true. I was arrested at LAX. I was told I would have gone to jail if I didn't do this. And the thing is, Trevor felt really close to Simon. Simon felt really close to Trevor. They were bonding, right? Simon turned out they didn't have many friends, and Trevor was like someone who's a friend. But I also could say it's like a mentor, a coach, but someone who's kind of like a little bit of a father figure in a way. Okay. Simon didn't have anybody besides his brother and mother. No friends at all. And Trevor is really his friend he got close to, and he felt betrayed. It's a cliche thing, right? In movies and TV shows, it's a cliche thing, right? Okay. Somebody gets close to you. Why? Why are you trying to get close to them? Selfish reasons, right? Selfish reasons, obviously. Trevor didn't want to go back to prison. Okay? And this frustrated, pissed off, angry Simon. So what happens is Simon goes onto the set of where Wonder Man's filming, and he's getting angry, right? And then he gets to a point, to the boiling point, where his eyes turn red, and he uses his power without control, and basically the set blows up, and the building blows up. The thing blows up. The next day, because Trevor wants to protect Simon, and he wants Simon to have this job, right? Be Wonder Man, and he didn't want it to come out that Simon is responsible for what happened to the set of Wonder Man, right? Because Simon knew he's seen Wonder Man. Trevor's seen Simon's powers, and he saw and he grew close to Simon. He see how his life, how his brother treated him, how his mother, how his father, all that, but also the struggles that Simon's going through, and he sees, and he obviously, as it's one of those cliche things where he feels close to Trevor. So obviously Trevor feels close to Simon. So Trevor does not want Simon to be to be his Simon's power Simon to be reveal to be exposed, right, with his powers. Otherwise, Simon couldn't work. He'd be blacklisted. He'd be banned. He'd be fired. All that. So Trevor did the only thing which he thinks he could save Simon's career, and which it did. It did. He dressed up as the Mandarin, talked like the Mandarin, made a video like the Mandarin, and said he was responsible for the bombing. Okay? So he took the fall because he sacrificed himself. He sacrificed himself so Simon could still be Wonder Man, still have a career, and have his big break. Okay. So Damage Control goes to arrest Trevor because Trevor broke their agreement, the promise. All right, and so Trevor ends up back in prison. The agent on Damage Control is upset because they really want Simon. Okay, they want Simon. So after the arrest of Mandarin, some time have passed, right? Because next we see Simon, his mother, his brother, watching the Wonder Man movie at the premiere of Wonder Man. Okay, and he's wearing red. You see my thumbnail, all that. The premiere. And who did it replace Barnaby with? They replaced Barnaby, Trevor with Joe Palladino, because that character in the movie Barnaby betrays Wonder Man. Okay, so yeah, so you're at the premiere. Afterwards, the premiere. All right. He was happy. He has name recognition, right? He has name recognition, right? But he doesn't feel the same without his brother. His brother finally accepts Eric. Finally accepts Simon because Simon finally made a name himself. He finally did something. He became a success, and the relationship was definitely not tense anymore. So yeah, so if guys, Eric ain't coming. It's not going to be the Grim Reaper. There's not going to be a Grim Reaper. Eric is not being the Grim Reaper. Based on this show, there's no way he's going to become the Grim Reaper because nothing is lead. In fact, it led the other way. Okay, it led the other way where they embrace each other. So don't count on Grim Reaper coming. But then we fast forward a little bit where Trevor is in a small town. Not a small town. He's in a prison, but Simon's in a small town talking to a local, and Simon says to this local at a bar that he's doing a movie which he can't say that, but he wants to learn a movie based on this local, and he wants to say that he wants to basically shadow watch him, right? Right? Shadow him, right? Right? With his family, work, and all that stuff. Hobbies, things like that. Exercise, things like that. Right? But the truth is, he knows where this employee works. He knows where this person works, okay? And obviously, he can't tell the employee that the name of the movie or anything like that because in Hollywood, it's called NDA. Right? You can't tell everybody. I'm sure in the industry, if you're gonna shadow someone, that person you're gonna shadow is allowed to know if the movie's being made about them. If you shadow, I'm sure they're allowed to know the name of the title. You still signed the NDA, but I'm sure you're allowed to name the title. But Simon wasn't really making a movie. He was there to free Barnaby because that person he was shadowing, pretending to shadow for a movie, right? Was at a damage control facility in a base facility with a prison, and so he managed to get snuck away in, right? The guy helped him with a fake ID, all that fake ID, not really fake ID to get into the facility and look at the prison. Finds Barnaby in the prison, okay, and they talk and they make up, and he frees Barnaby, and he uses his power to fly through the prison, and that's the end of the show. Okay. 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 I don't know what blind it is. I don't know if he's coming on. I said I was going to do a review today, but whatever, it's fine. Okay. Okay, so that's really the end of the show. And you do see him in the Wonder Man costume, but it's from the movie. It's not really a superhero costume. So, the Damage Control thought, you know what? Maybe he could be a set, or maybe he could be an asset too. Wonder Man. But yeah, it's one of the highest rated shows. The comedy in this show sticks. There's no awkwardness with the comedy. The serious stuff in this show sticks. This show, you can't go into this show thinking like it's a comic book show. It's not. There's no real villain here. No, this is like might be the only comic book show or movie without an actual villain. Can't think of the others with an actual villain, like a super villain or anything like that. This might be the only one without a villain. Really, I'm serious. Okay, especially in Marvel, this might be the only one in Marvel with an actual villain. Okay, this show is very formatted like a regular TV show in a way. It's formatted. It's kind of a parody on Hollywood. It lets you get the insight of what industry is like, and I also do think in this show they give us an insight of how Marvel Studios is run a little bit. They kind of make fun of themselves too in this show. Okay? They kind of want themselves to make fun of themselves in the show too. Marvel Studios. They really don't mention a lot from the MCU, from the world. They don't mention anything from from anything else a lot in this show. It's just very solely focused on Simon and Trevor. The only thing related to they mentioned is probably Trevor because he was in Shang-Chi and Iron Man. But anything else, they really don't mention anything. They don't from anything else in the MCU. Really, it's really non-existent if you ask me. Okay, really non-existent. All right, so I wish Blinder was here. All right, so I think that's all I have. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, comment below, guys. Next Sunday, we're going to do Super Bowl trailers, okay? Next Sunday. All right, guys. If Blind was here, I'd like to go. I would have gone. But like, share, subscribe, comment below, guys. Bye.
Come on. Thanks for watching, bitch.